Okay, hello. That's the second synchronizer right there. They all drive those SUVs. And it's probably pretty dark for you. You probably can't see anything. Gangstalking neighbors across the street on her porch. And I'm going out for the third time tonight to verify the elasticity of my battery, which basically means you have to make your battery work up to its capacity after the winter time. It loses a lot of its capacity while it's not being used, even though you keep the battery inside while while it's wintertime, I mean. If you kept this outside during winter, that would be really bad. Okay. Crap. Alright. Now, I did forget my music, so I'll be going inside again momentarily. But the goal for tonight is to get basically an assessment on the battery. I'm doing the exact same route, and if the problem, because the battery has a problem, the problem is it only lasts for 5 kilometers. It's supposed to last for 20 kilometers. And if the problem is the elasticity, then this ride should confirm that. I should get more distance on this ride than I did on the previous ride about an hour ago. And if it's not giving me any increased range, that means that there's still some problem that I have to fix. And I'm doing this new thing where I just talk quietly. I forget I have volume control, gain control. Some of my favorite YouTubers, they do vlogging and they just kind of talk. They talk at a really nice pace, at a really nice volume, I mean. And I find when I'm out on my e-bike, I'm like, and then I walked uphill 500 kilometers, and it was so crazy. And it's like I'm yelling the whole time. Afterwards, I think I could just lift the volume up in post. The other thing about volume is, if you have the volume raised because you're not talking very loudly, you can also then raise the volume of the ambient sounds, like the e-bike, the trees, the cars going by, the mufflers of the gangstalkers. Okay, the bike is still on 5 bars. That's pretty good. Oh, now it's on 4 bars. This is my first confirmation that the elasticity is not the problem, and what the problem is the battery themselves. There are 4 cells in the battery. Those cells are all messed up. I don't know how they would be. I mean, I take the battery inside during the cold. It's a pretty new battery. Could have been tampered with by gangstalkers. I'm not really technically inclined to know how they would do something like that. Ultimately, the distance is what's going to tell the test. But, and there's a guy behind me walking, there's lots of things, like there'll be people on adjacent streets brighting me, just cars sitting pointed at me with their high beams on. And I don't always show that. I'm also listening to music right now, and it just started going off of my alarm. So now I have to go through like 3 cycles of my alarm before it goes back to the music. Okay, so it's on 4 bars. I'm already feeling like this is going to be kind of, here's this car is brighting me. This is a classic gang stalker. So I think if I talk quieter and then just lift the volume up more, because if I yell, then the yelling already is so loud that you don't have to lift the volume up really. I mean, and then you can't really hear the ambient sounds. So I think this is like a better method. And plus, I don't like listening to someone. I mean, I keep good energy. So even when I'm yelling, my voice is not straining. I make sure that I always have good energy. But even so, it's better to have good energy and not be yelling. Okay, so again, the bars don't really matter. Oh, and I charged the battery for about an hour. I didn't really measure how long I should have. And that's a factor because the battery should be charging for longer and longer. If the problem is just elasticity, the previous time I charged it, before last time, it charged for about an hour and a half. And now this time it just charged for about, again, I wasn't really paying close attention, but just over an hour, I think. And it's supposed to charge for 3 or 4 hours. And so that's bad when it charges just for an hour and it tells you that it's already fully charged. It's kind of like putting $5 of gas in your gas tank, and your gas reader says that you have a full tank, but you know that that's not possible. So again, I'm on 4 bars out of 5 going up this hill, and that was the same as last time. So it's pretty comparable so far. We had this dessert today. It was called a cruffin. I guess it's some kind of play on the word muffin. I've had a while to think about this because I was describing this cruffin to someone. Actually, when I lived in Copenhagen for a while, I used to get these desserts. They were called Spandenheisen, or I really can't remember, but maybe it was. It was like Spandenheisen. Basically like this yellow custard on top of a pastry. And we have those here too, called custard tarts, but they're more like a tart, not in a bun. You know, this is where the cruffin comes in because it's like a muffin. So it's less like it's on a pie crust, and it's more like it's on like this really nice kind of I don't know, this kind of that guy with his dog was just freaking me out. I got really jumpy all of a sudden. It's kind of like a croissant with custard. Really good, you know, really, really fancy. I'd imagine it's expensive. And of course I'm vegan. What do you think, I'm not vegan? What are you, fucking insane? Just joking, just joking. And, but I mean, I wasn't vegan today because, you know, my cousin and my mom, and I don't really like when they do this. They say, oh look, we just got a whole cake. We know that you'll eat non-vegan things when it's going to go to waste otherwise. So, hey, we got an extra cake and we just can't eat it. So I guess you're going to have to eat it. And it's kind of, and they don't really care. Like, you know, to them, they're like, they don't have the same ethics as I do. Like, to me, it would bother me to hurt an animal to like get milk or something. To them, they're just like, well, you know, it doesn't mean anything to them. And so I'm like, don't do this. Like, don't get me, you know, I know you're just going to say that. I know you want me to have the cheesecake. I know you know that I love the cheesecake. You know that I want the cheesecake real bad, and I'm only going to eat it if you don't. And so they got me these vegan desserts. They got me like really good vegan desserts, like vegan ice cream bars, and they have like chocolate and caramel, because you can kind of make up for vegan bullshit, you know, like, you know, vegan ice cream is bullshit, vegan milk, because there's not the, I don't know what it's called, but there's something in the milk that makes the calf want to drink it. Some kind of opiate. It's like a precursor to an opiate. Very addictive. And so with vegan stuff, you do get that. Cooked food is incredibly addictive. I'm not sure if it's acrylamide. I think that's some kind of byproduct of cooking starch. I'm not exactly sure what, I think that's just a toxin, but there's some kind of addictive things about cooked food that are the same kind of basic premise as what's in mother's milk of a cow. But it's not the same. It's not going to get you high. You know, like if you eat cheese, for example, supposing you go vegan for a while, and then you eat some cheese all of a sudden, you're going to be passed out. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is a drug. So even though these ice cream bars and this ice cream, it has like caramel and chocolate, which I'm not supposed to have chocolate because, you know, I actually ate some chocolate tonight and I was like, oh no, what did I just do? Because I won't be able to sleep after, and I fear getting a headache, and there's no amount that's too small. You know, I used to drink 6 cans of Coke a day for like 2 years. And suddenly my gums receded, and underneath your gums, you have no enamel. So that part of my teeth started turning brown. And I'm like, not that kind of guy. I'm not the kind of guy who has brown teeth. And as soon as I noticed, and it was just overnight, like, you know, I all of a sudden started drinking Coke. I loved it. I never stopped. I literally never stopped for like 2 years. Then one day I'm like, you know, that feels funny. When I rub my tooth, it feels like there's something stuck on it. And I was trying to brush off the brown black spot. I thought, what the fuck is this? And then I realized, oh my God, that's in my tooth. Then I asked someone about it, Lauren, the godfather of water fasting. And I had already freaked out on him. I had said some really, really nasty shit to him that I won't even repeat. Really nasty shit. And he stopped talking to me at that point. And then I promised him, I said, you know, I'm going to apologize to you. And I'm going to make this apology real by never talking to you again, because that's clearly what you want. And then my teeth got all fucked up. I was scared. I stopped drinking Coke instantly, switched to bubbly. I mean, that was hard. I thought I could never stop drinking Coke. And then I commented it on Lauren's video. I said, hello, everyone, except for Lauren. And I think he's gang-stalked too, but he doesn't know it because his brakes gave out on his car. Some other weird things too. And he's the type who would get gang-stalked. Someone asked him once, are you afraid of ever getting killed? Because he talks about health in a logical way, like not in the way that the world's first billionaire, J.D. Rockefeller, talks about it, who paid off all the medical schools to teach his curriculum. And he said, well, there has been about 16 people, this was around the time of the 2019 mass murder, about 16 people who were natural hygiene type people. And natural hygiene means that you don't believe in disease. You believe that what people call disease is toxicity, and what people call health is cleanliness. And so you have to wipe the idea of disease off out of your mind, that it doesn't exist. Because once you think disease exists, then the cause is unknown, and then you just run around in a circle trying to fight some goose chase cause that, you know, maybe it's my genes, maybe it's something in the air, and you know, those could be contributing factors, but by a long shot, the main factor is cooked food. And so he is an example of someone who has been eating raw food for like 30 something years. He's a millionaire, he's a genius. He's very healthy. He's 80% water. Most people are like 70% water. It's almost unheard of to find someone who's 80% water. Now I'm on 2 bars of battery. The previous time I was in this spot, I was at 0 bars of battery. So this is actually a good sign. And he talked about during the 2019 mass murder. Here, just to document, would be a gang stalker. And there were about 16 people in the natural hygiene community who got shot twice in the head, and it was a suicide. Well, they shot themselves once in the head, and then they shot themselves another time in the head from the back, and that was a suicide. He referenced a bunch of those people, but he said, I could be misquoting him on this. This was on his BitChute channel, which is like the uncensored version of YouTube, that not enough people know who he is. And I felt like that a lot of the times. Like, of all the people who are human trafficked, we have it the best. And on a sort of karmic scale, we're in the only position to fight human trafficking. And I know that sounds maybe like a hero complex, but if we were more famous and we talked about this, if we exposed this, we would get instantly assassinated. But the fact that we are nobody means that we can say the truth exactly as it is. And what better could you do? As cheesy as it sounds, as helpless as we are. Here's another Brighting car. Looks like they were stopped until I went by. One of these lights seems brighter than the other one too. Okay, so this is like marginally better than the last time. I could kind of say battery elasticity is the issue, but also kind of not. The difference is about 1 block and about like 3 kilometers an hour. But again, there's also another factor which I should have really paid attention to, how long it takes to charge the battery. Now this is pretty bad. I mean, it's supposed to go 20 or 30 kilometers or even 40, and it goes like 5. But I am excited that I am talking at a regular voice. I've kind of accepted that I have the technology to make the voice go louder in like later on when I edit it. And I think that makes for a much nicer flow of conversation. It's almost like when I was doing ASMR the other day, I found that I could speak more easily. And I have a feeling that when you're not yelling, you can, be more free to speak however you want. Now here's 2 gang stalkers. There's one in front of this building smoking. He's a regular who I recognize. He's nasty. He's yelled. Then here would be another synchronizing gang stalker going by, and then you probably can't see, but there's another one walking across the street to synchronize. He was kind of in a dark area, so I don't know if you would have seen him. What the hell are these people doing? Could you imagine? It's almost as ridiculous as you tell someone, okay, look, next door to you, have you heard of Dracula? You know, like that vampire on the cereal box? Actually, Dracula moved in next to you. So you don't have to go by like human rights. Like, you know how there's like a due process for people, like torturing people is illegal, human trafficking people is illegal. Well, actually, that person, quote unquote person next door to you, that's actually Dracula. It's not even a person. So kind of like an alien invasion. It's like they're an alien. That's alien Dracula next door to you. And so we need you to follow them, and we need you to scare them and to follow them, break in their house, and terrorize them. Because they're Dracula. They might get up to some trouble unless you stop them. You are the one, my son. My son, you have to hunt Dracula. No, really, you have to hunt Dracula. Like, it's almost, however they've made sense to them. It's so beyond ridiculous. It's basically, they might as well say they're vampire hunters. No, we're being literal. It's not a joke. We're not being metaphorical here. We actually hunt alien vampires. And it's real secret, so we can't tell you about it. Our job is to protect you from Dracula. And if he hears what we're doing, he's gonna hurt you. So we have to keep it secret. He's gonna take it out on you. If he hears what we're doing, he's gonna take it out on you. So we have to keep it real secret what we're doing. We're human trafficking Dracula. Just to keep him from hurting you.